keep us in fear to manipulate us. They want us ignorant so we're easier to enslave. They make us murder one another so they don't have to do it themselves. Only you can break their mind control by hearing the contradictions within your belief systems that allows you to accept their lies in the first place. The time has come for us to remember our divinity, who we really are, to return to what we're meant to be, a service to others, to humanity, to return to nature, and reclaim our birthright, that which is freedom. The truth will sound belligerent because it is in direct opposition to lies. So get angry because anger is sacred. And together we can unite and rise. Rise from this darkness. Humanity, assemble.
How about that? My books. Those are both my books currently on sale on Amazon. One's Rise from Darkness, Who Are They? And the other one is Violence and Ego, Understanding the Principles of Functional Self-Defense, which is self-defense for anybody. So, we had some stuff go on this week. Today's date is August 29th, 2025. And we had some pretty sad stuff go on with another active threat scenario in Minnesota. And I don't know. I'll get to certain things that I'm going to say about that later, but I think what I want to talk about first is a couple things that are going on this weekend with friends that I have in the freedom community. And let me get rid of this and let's put this on. Sound Path to Freedom starts today. It's near Philadelphia. It's about a 5.5 hour drive for me. Unfortunately, I'm not going to make it. I bought a ticket, so that's like my donation to support these artists. These artists they're putting out music that is influential, like all music is, but it's influential towards freedom. It's freedom-based music, and artist 33, Derek Bros. I got to watch him sing in person in the Cleveland area, and it was a good time. It was a great time. I remember we were all around, kind of dancing. I'm like, yes, this is not a party if someone doesn't go to jail. Because this was literally, we had this conference, this event right next to the police department. It was kind of funny, and we got loud. But they, excuse me, the weather's changing here in Ohio, and it's like really, really fucking cold, okay? So it's like 45 degrees outside right now. So much for global warming. And I'm on my first cup of coffee. And it's not that good this morning, but whatever. At least I got warm coffee. So unfortunately, my financial situation isn't going to allow for me to travel there and do what I want, but it's going to be at Arnold's Family Fun Center. I checked the place out. Oh my God. And it's right by Valley Forge National Park, where the Battle of Valley Forge happened. And I would like to go there for a weekend, just to make a weekend of those two places alone. This place is awesome. I wish I could make it, but I can't. So my ticket is a donation. Love you guys. Can't wait to see some of the people I know doing this. I already checked out some of the music and some of the artists, and it's sounding great. And it's an online event. You can look at this flyer. It's online and in person. So I'm going to check, definitely probably be online tonight, watching it. And it starts at 8 o'clock tonight. In February, I'm honored to be speaking at Funnel 5. Funnel 5. And people who know me know that 5 is definitely a synchronistic number for me. So Funnel 5 I'll be speaking at, and I'm going to be talking about, my journey as an order follower. Because what we got going on in the world right now and in our country is we're seeing order followers being used like they always have been as pawns, and then they'll throw you under the bus when they're done with you. Trust me, I did the job. It's what they did. Let me do something here. Oh, wait a minute, that's fine. The name of my presentation is going to be a 1-hour presentation, and the name of the presentation is going to be The Hammer and the Flame, which I thought was a fitting name for this presentation. A Soul's Declaration, which is basically my rise from that line of work, my rise from my own darkness, from the own contradictions that I held, unhealthy coping mechanisms that I got over, and what we're going to need to do if we're going to actually survive what's coming up in the years. We're going to need trained individuals who don't follow immoral orders. They're going to have to understand what objective morality under God's natural law is. And these people are really good at obfuscating, what morality is. You can't magically have some right conferred upon you. If it's something I can't go do to my neighbor, that means nobody can come do it to me, no matter what it is. And we've had some things go on where, they want to take away, on the one hand, they want to take away, never waste a good disaster, never waste a good, tragedy would be the word for it. And they'll politically use it to try to take, disarm Americans, which is what they're going to be doing anyway. They're going to be doing that anyway. And I mean, I can give you a full example. They arm people and go to constitutional carry, concealed carry without no training. Just go ahead and you can do it if you don't have any, records. And then you get into a self-defense situation. You're really well trained, and you come out on top of that situation. And due to the way the system's set up, sometimes a person who is a very well trained with firearms, very good, accurate, safe marksmanship instructor, teacher who can do things, and has the courage to engage in active threat. Well, they'll bump that guy off, and they'll let some fat drug addict pig keep both his guns akimbo. And who doesn't have the courage or training to engage anything but their own whatever. I mean, the stuff that I've seen in the line of work. So this ignite the hearts and minds of fire, and for me, The Hammer and the Flame, A Soul's Journey, is going to be the name of my presentation. It's going to be 1 hour long. I'm starting to work on it now. I'm looking forward to doing that first online event. It's like the first presentation I've done on a bigger scale. So again, I'm honored, and I'm very thankful that I was asked to partake in that. But this came right from a presentation done by Mark Passio on cosmic abandonment. And it's on the psychology of the order follower. And man, did he hit it on the head. Had me in cognizant dissonance for a little bit, to be honest with you. Because some of the other stuff I had heard him say that could be taken from an ex-cop or any current cop would be considered, these just they don't like cops, no one likes cops. So okay, we get that, we're used to that, blah blah blah. But when he went into, I still was like avidly, researching all his research and work. I didn't care that he had said some negative things about cops in some of his podcasts and stuff. Okay, yeah, I get that, but I was really interested in the other stuff. Because as someone who did the job for so long, you get used to no one liking you. Everyone loves firemen, but then again, firemen aren't handing out tickets because you're cooking something on the barbecue in the backyard. Or maybe They wouldn't like firemen. But anyway, which is one of the things I didn't understand, especially back in 2020 when all the cops were catching all this hate, no matter what they did. I still seen them pulling over people for going 10 miles over the speed limit. I don't understand it. It's something I never did a lot of. But anyway, I'm not going to, this isn't a rant. Like, I feel bad for the good order followers. I feel bad for the good politicians. They all get to Washington, D.C., and they make all these promises, and they get there, and they completely do the exact opposite. So this is everyone who goes there. So what kind of evil darkness is there that flips them like that? They have to work within a system that's so deranged that, I'm not saying they're all bad or evil. They might be trying to do the best job they can do within a deep state. But it's funny how that works. But cosmic abandonment was a wake-up call for me. Because once I heard it put together in this, I think it's a 3-hour presentation. And I'm going to link it. I've watched it a couple times. I'm going to link cosmic abandonment in the comment section below. Definitely check it out, man. If you're a police officer, check it out. If you're a soldier or Marine, check it out. They just sent 4,000 Marines down to, because of drugs, I guess, coming from the very tip of South America, Argentina or something, I found it funny that back in 2020, the Marine Corps got rid of MPs and tanks, and one of the most respected Marine Corps generals, oh God, what's his name? Oh my God, I got to get my shit together. He lives in Minnesota. He was under the Trump administration. He resigned from all of it. And then next thing you know, he's telling people to wear masks. There's so many memes on the guy. It doesn't matter. If you're going to wear a mask and advertise about it, you're either a clone. Okay, this is my conspiracy theorist and me coming out. You're either a clone or you've completely lost your fucking mind. General Mattis, that's his name, General Mattis. All I had to do was say that F word like a Marine, and I instantly fucking remembered. How about that? Hoorah! Okay, you can take the guy out of the Marines, but not the Marine out of the guy. And you know what? That's kind of true to a certain degree, because it is, World War II, you go into something like the Marine Corps, it does change you, and you're changed forever. But that doesn't mean you can't become a moral person. That doesn't mean there weren't plenty of moral Marines who fought in World War II and have given their life for this country. I'm calling on Marines to, especially the command, young 19, 20, 21, 22-year-olds, 21-year-olds, especially, anything 21 and under, 18 to 21, they're not, you guys in your late 20s, early 30s, mid-30s, you're the ones who are the thinkers. You're the ones who are the NCOs or the officers. You're the ones who are going to have discernment. Okay, faithful to God, country, and Corps, Semper Fi. Okay, always faithful to God, country, and Corps. Not faithful to the whims of an immoral politician. Okay, they're now having troops go into American cities to do policing. I'm not political. I don't care. I don't take sides. I just watch the show, because it's what it is. It's a show. It's a very sad one. And I know the other side would be losing their freaking minds. Like what's going on now. If the other side was doing that, the supporters of who's in control now would be losing their freaking minds. And again, there's a difference between political rulers and somebody who's an actual leader. I've said this before. Leaders teach. They don't want to be in charge of nothing. Rulers want to rule. When was the last time you learned something from a ruler besides fear? That's something we have to think of, okay? But I gotta read this part right here. Yes, the order follower, a person who does what someone else commands them to do, and who has therefore attempted to abdicate their free will and personal responsibility. Hey, I'm just following orders. I don't like it either, man. For choosing their own actions based upon the correct determination of the morality or immorality of a particular behavior. Ego's a motherfucker, man. So you guys are going to be in a tough spot. The conspiracy theorist in me can say, hey, I, boots on the ground, talk to recruiters and understand that they weren't allowing, the recruiting was at zero. They weren't really allowing anyone to go in to the military. And then we had to flood over the border, and then there's all these ads, join the National Guard, pathway to citizenship. So like, if people can't connect these very small dots that are going on, I don't know what to tell you. Now, again, I'm talking about the plane of effects. Okay, the plane of causation it is the spiritual corruption of the entire world. We allow murder and theft and lying to just, and dishonesty and coercion to rule us. This is what we're going to get. And the solution to this is never going to be political. It's never going to be violence. Violence begets more violence. The solution to this is understanding, spiritually speaking, what we can do and what we can't do. That's moral, under God's law, under natural law. And you can't initiate harm and be a good person. It's impossible, no matter who's giving you the order to do it. So I will be doing this presentation about order followers from my own experiences. I'm going to have a lot of my own pictures up there, and I'm really looking forward to Funnel 5. So thank you, anyone the people who decided to ask me to come into that. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. I may even have some recordings. I don't know. I'll have to see what I decide I'm going to put in there or not. Going back to what I was talking about spiritual, you always have to be careful, because I personally think that there are entities or dark things that can attach themselves to people who are weak, and it can influence their already held behavior. Think of DARPA, how it could influence whether that's already there. I think there's entities, this is just a theory, that I don't know this for sure, although I've had some pretty cool experiences out Bigfooting and different things like that, things that I once called supernatural that I now call simply natural, but it can exaggerate an already held behavior. Sort of like if you're an angry guy and you hold it in, but then you get drunk, and then all of a sudden you're this asshole when you're drunk. Okay, spirits, right? Drinking spirits. It exaggerates an already held behavior. I think there's entities that can do that, because I'm seeing complete nonsensical stuff in the world. Nonsensical, mind-controlled shit on a personal level and on a big stage of mind-controlled people that will do anything they're told. Okay? I'll get into some of that here in a second, but it's been a rough year. That's all I can tell you. It's been a rough year and a half for me personally. At one point in time, dropping $500 to go do a trip and have a good time on that trip for 2 or 3 days would be nothing. Now I'm having to watch out. But again, in this work, when you're volunteering to do this and put out some kind of truth, you're going to be tested, right? And it's always good to stay in it. If you're going to stay in it, the universe is going to test your will to see if you have the will to do its will. And throughout the adversity, I haven't stopped, and I won't. And I have many times already in the past 5 years put my money where my mouth is to help people. So yeah, I'm kind of sad I can't go tonight. It looks like a really good time, but I can't. To Pennsylvania, Oaks, PA. I love the name, Arnold's Funhouse. My last name's Arnold. That's great. But So we had, a shooting that happened this week in Minnesota. It's all over the news, and I watched a lot of things. I slowly watched it, and I just want to say my heartfelt prayers to the victims of everything happening in society and the victims there in Minnesota. I couldn't help but notice some things, specifically a couple of the people that were interviewed who lived near the shooter, how they were so emotionally upset and really crying, and you could see the fear that they actually had. Wow, this person was living by us. And it was real, and then outside where everyone else was gathered, I didn't really I seen some tears, some people were upset, but it's just, there's just a lot of weird things, a lot of questions that I have. I'm glad, that's terrible. 17 people were injured, 2 people killed. This young man was telling his recollection of the events when one of his friends got shot. I just say my prayers go out to these people. I really do pray for them. Oh, look, it's Ralphie from Christmas Story. It's going to be cold out pretty soon. I was talking before about some of those things that I went through, right? In the past year and a half, I've had dear friends die. I had my mother die. I had violence that was attempted to be conducted upon me, familial violence. Somebody somebody I trained to be a Jedi turns into a fucking Sith Lord. That hurt. It really does. That's over with, thank God. But, if you're going to threaten and hit women and lie and stuff like that, you're definitely a Sith Lord, And that's why I say this war that we're in is a spiritual war. This is spiritual warfare. And they're attacking your spirit when they attack your free will to make an informed decision. I see the automatons I always see. Guns are the problem. Guns are the problem. You got to get rid of the guns. Yeah, okay. I agree. Get rid of the guns. All of them. Fucking all of them. Governments can't have guns no more. No police having guns. No army, Marines. No military has guns. We do away with all guns. And I'm right with them. You guys on the left who are like, get rid of the guns. I don't vote, so I'm not part of your cult. Understand that. I really don't give a fuck what you believe in and what you don't. Okay? A gun is a tool. It's a paperweight. I don't know how many times this has to be said. This is the weapon. This is the intent. If this intent is dark, this tool, okay, can be used as a weapon. If the intent isn't dark, this tool can be used for a light purpose. This is a pipe thingy. So I can squish my stuff down in here. Okay, this little thing right here helps me, do stuff with it, right? This is just a tool. But if I stick it into your jugular vein, I turn it into a weapon because my tool my intent decided to get dark. So when I see people screaming about that, I feel you. I get where you're coming from, man. I really, truly do. But you don't understand what you're asking. On the flip side of the coin, everyone having guns now is really just self-defense against crime from each other. Because if we think of the reason why we were allowed to originally have to be armed as a country, the Second Amendment was made, honestly, for self-defense against an authoritarian state. And over the years, every state had a right to have a well-trained and well-armed militia. Wherever they at, they're gone. They were a threat to national security, and they all got shut down. The dots are so easy to connect. Moving forward in life, we're going to need a lot more love and compassion and patience. And patience is not my strong suit. Ask anybody who knows me. I was told by a very good psychic friend of mine to study Gandhi. And I did. I'll just say I started studying Gandhi back in March sometime. I don't know. It was a slow start, but I've studied Gandhi and I understand that what he was doing was the right way to do things. Don't give them an excuse. But they're doing stuff more than they've ever done before. So there's going to be a balance in here in self-defense someplace. And, these are all decisions that we have to make. I see, very simply, all the divisiveness they create. Okay? All these trans persons who want you to call them he or she or this or that, something they're not. They want you to believe and bite into their gaslight. I'm not going to bite into no gaslights. The governments of the world gaslight you too. So everyone wants to gaslight you. They've got mental health issues that are really bad to begin with. And you got these, what would be considered politically left-wing trans persons doing all these shootings, okay, quote unquote, and you've got the right wing who's going to be angry about that, and they want to take the right's guns, okay, or we're going to take the right wing's guns. They call it political theater for a reason. There's a lot of theater going on. I told a really interesting story in Violence and Ego, and it was when I was in the Marine Corps at the U.S. Naval Academy. I actually was in Leatherneck magazine. I wish I could find that picture of me. This was 1992. And they had a terrorist training activation where the library got taken over and students were being held hostage by Islamic terrorists, of course. And we got there, and they were really concerned about the Marines being there. We got there, and Marines from Fast Company got there. We played the whole thing out. We had... It got serious. It was a serious training event. It was good training because good training is going to elicit at least a partial adrenal response. At least a partial adrenal response. So it was that. I mean, these people were coming out. The bomb went off. People were coming out of the library holding arms and blood squirting everywhere. And it looked so realistic. I'm like, holy cow. And then I remembered, oh, wait a minute, I got my little red thing on the end of my M16A2, right? I forgot what they call them now, but Jesus Christ, I'm having a bad time today. But anyways, and we had, blank rounds. I hated shooting those things because it made the barrel so freaking dirty. It was nuts. But, and try turning in a rifle to the armor. Anybody who's been in the military knows what I'm talking about. It was so real. So real. And this wasn't blue screen stuff. This wasn't, no technology involved. These actors are really fucking good. I was impressed. Thinking back years later on it, I was very impressed. And to think 1 year later, Jurassic Park came out, and dinosaurs came to life on TV and looked very real. But we are in a spiritual war because we're not going to find a 3D solution to what's going on now. We have to understand God's spiritual laws, cosmic law. Okay? We are here to prove ourselves, and we are here to gain true freedom. That's only going to be done through the understanding of natural law, through the understanding of don't do unto others that which you don't want done unto you. It's real fucking simple. It's not complicated. I definitely got to start doing some interviews again. I am going to try to get back on Revolution.radio, because then I can smoke my pipe all I want. I don't inhale it a lot. Sometimes I'll get a head rush if I inhale it, because I'm not doing nicotine all day long. I used to smoke like a pack and a half of cigarettes a day. It was terrible. It's one of the bad habits I brought back into balance. I smoke this not even every day, but usually in the evenings, sometimes in the mornings, and I, whatever. It's a vice, but it's a vice that's under control. And it's all about balance. And I'll be talking about that also, because there's one thing I know about cops and order followers: lots of vices, lots of unhealthy coping mechanisms, because you can't be a part of all that evil and all that contradiction and all that stress and all the PTSD that you get from the job. I mean, I've been on the scene of, and it's a death by 1,000 cuts, I've been on the scene of double homicides. Cops have to deal with some real mean, nasty, evil animals at times. I mean, honestly. I talked about this before. I happened to watch a gunshot wound victim. They did CPR on him for 20, 30 minutes, and he died, and I had to hug his mother. I don't want to ever feel that energy again. That is the kind of stuff that good cops have to deal with, too. We're in a spiritual war. The solution is spiritual and philosophical. It's nonviolent. No initiation of violence. I can't stress that enough. What defines us is how we rise after falling, how well we rise after falling. Sometimes there'll be some slips, and then you keep climbing. You don't stop. Like I said today, there was the last year and a half, with all the strife that I've had in my life, and I don't count this as any negative karma. I'm blessed right now. I've had very good karma. Okay? What I looked at the last year and a half was the pendulum just swinging to the other side a little bit for me, and the universe was testing my will. Do you really want to do the great work? Do you really want to see human freedom? Do you want to share all the spiritual signs that you've had that some people are going to think are nuts? But the people who are going to think what I got to say pretty soon, they're going to think, wow, he's nuts. I'm going to ask you, do you believe in the bearded guy in the desert sky, that invisible bearded guy in the desert sky? Okay, the three versions of them that they murder each other over constantly. They're currently doing it now, and they're using it as an excuse to do it legally. Okay, separation of church and state would not be a fucking thing if it was. You wouldn't have a saying that says separation of church and state if they were separated. Okay? When I decided to share that stuff. So the will, I think the universe was just testing my will to do the will. And sometimes it's scary. And I'll have something to read when I do this funnel conference about that part of it. But right now, what I want to read off is something I wrote, and it's called The Sacred Refusal. The Sacred Refusal. By the forge that shaped us, by the fire that tested us, by the hammer we raise in truth, we will serve the light. We will protect the sovereign. We will speak the sacred words, not for fame, but for freedom. So let the world tempt us. Let the shadows whisper. Let the path twist and turn. We will not stray. We will not fall. We will not forget. I am Dan, the spiritual anarchist. It's just a moniker. I am the flame. I am the storm. I will not be deterred. If from this cause I am ever tempted away, let the spiritual anarchist rise like Thor and say the nay. With that, I think my friends would get a kick out of that. I say thee nay. The sacred word no. To remind myself of why I'm doing this in the first place. So with that said, it's Friday, and nothing but love and prayers for the collective, for everybody. Stay safe, and I will be doing at least one of these a week to stay in practice. I got an interview coming up pretty soon that I'll be doing. And I'm very blessed right now. I'll just leave it at that. Okay, so I wish nothing but healing to people, but just don't identify with it. Don't make it a whole lifelong thing where that's your whole entire identity is healing. I can go on in all kinds of tangents here, but anyways, man, nothing but peace and love, man. Till next time.